Welcome to Paint a Beautiful Picture. It's good to have you with me today. I got my cast off, but I'm still struggling some with pain. So just rest my hand a little bit so you know. Today we're going to talk about loving the sinner, hating the sin. You might not like that language, so we can do the loving the person who's driving you crazy and hating the stuff they're doing. But I'm still going to use the language that I know the best, and that is loving the sinner, hating the sin. I'm going to give you a really good example. I have a good friend who, about 2 years ago now, really took me apart. I had been helping take care of my sister while she was going through her chemotherapy and her radiation for lung cancer. And when I returned to Mississippi, where I live, my friend said, "You should come over and we'll have a cup of tea and you can talk to me about how you're doing." And I went and I talked about all the challenges and how hard it was, and I cried about some things. And then my friend got all over my case. Like, I don't know why that was the day she thought was going to be a really good day to bring up about 5 years worth of stuff. It was not okay. I just went through months and months of really difficult emotional trauma, and she's going to choose that day to tear into me. The truth is, it's really pretty much damaged our relationship because someone who can't show support and, on the other hand, has to turn around and be verbally and emotionally aggressive and abusive when I was already struggling is not my friend. And it really has harmed our relationship a great deal. I still love her. I still go to her house about once a month and have tea. There are a lot of things I don't say to her now that I would have said to her previously. So I love her, but I really hated the behavior. And, oh, I'm not going to sign up and give her an opportunity to repeat it. That's an appropriate thing. If you don't believe me, you need to read Cloud and Townsend's book, Boundaries. I've told you this before. I'm going to keep telling you this. That's a big deal. You have to learn where to establish boundaries in your life that other people don't get to cross into your personal place. So I love her. I hated the behavior. I still hate that tendency, but I love her. So I'm kind to her. I'm patient with her. I'm gracious with her. I will still spend time with her. Let's say that you have a child who has a real tendency to get super angry, break stuff if they're 7 or 8 years old and they've heard those words, cuss, really act terrible. You hate the behavior and you love your child. You have to be able to separate those two things out because it's very important. I want you to know I have dealt with, counseled with, watched a lot of parents who end up hating the person, their own child, rather than being able to sort out the behavior from the person. And that's why we're going to talk about this. We do, in fact, never have to approve of or accept or dismiss really junky, totally inappropriate, lousy, horrible, bad behavior, or even behaviors that lead all the way to habits. We'll go to an extreme example first. Say you live with a guy and he's really an abusive person. Okay? He gets drunk every Friday night and he's broken your arm before and he's punched you in the face and he's even threatened your kids, though he's never laid a hand on them. Yeah, you don't have to accept that. You don't have to dismiss it like, oh, it's not that bad. Some people have it a lot worse than me. You don't have to anything that junky behavior. Even though I understand that you can love the person, you still need to take care of yourself and your children, which means probably you've got to get out of there. That's the really extreme one, okay? So sometimes, even though you love the person, you can't be with them. But let's talk about your child. Okay, so you have this kid. We'll say he has a tendency to steal, because I had one of those. So he goes into a store and you find him later with a candy bar and you say, "Where'd you get that?" Uh, yeah, you know what happened. You say you can't steal. So if it's not opened yet, we're going to go back to the store. You're going to tell the store manager what you did. And if you have money in your piggy bank, we're going to break open your piggy bank and you're going to pay for it. And if you don't, then you're going to have to tell them the truth and give it back. Yes, I've done this with my son more than one time actually. What if they're 13 or 14 years old and you keep finding clothes or you find earrings or a really cute bag and you're like, "Ah, sweetie, where'd you get this?" Uh, yeah. I mean, most of us know well enough, pardon me, when our kids are lying to us or when our kids are doing something wrong. You need to tell them, yeah, you can't be doing this. I mean, I am so frustrated about your behavior. I hate what you've been doing. I love you like crazy. In fact, I love you so much, I'm not going to let you get away with this behavior. It's all going to go back. And if you don't have the if you, yeah, of course they don't have the receipts. If you don't have the tags, if you don't have whatever, you know what? It's all going to go to Goodwill. You're not keeping the stuff that you stole. Oh, you can expect a whole lot of drama right about there. I promise you. Oh, yeah, I've been through this one too. And you have to deal with the fact that you hate what they're doing and you still love them. This is one of the things I used to say, and I still will say in counseling, and that is, you are not what you do, because it's the truth. What you do is a result of some of the things in your heart or in your mind, like, okay, I don't have enough money, but I really want that. So actually, what you have is a greed problem instead of being willing to work hard for what you would like or to ask me for what you would like because you've already made an assumption that I won't let you have it. Then you're going to get it any way that you can. That's not an admirable quality. But what you do is not who you are. But it is true. When you address some of the things they do, it does actually get to the underlying issue in their life that's driving that. So, as a parent, as we know, it takes a lot of insight and a lot of time, and it takes us a certain amount of getting to know our child and being willing to address things in them. What's disturbing is I will definitely, certainly tell you, I've heard this message too many times in my own life since I grew up in an abusive home, and I've heard a lot of parents say this to their kid. I just can't stand you. You need to get in the other room and out of my face. See, that's the I hate you message. That's never the correct message. You do not want to give your child the message that you, yourself, I can't stand, I don't like, I hate your guts. That's not an okay message. It is, I love you. I'm here to support you. I'm going to encourage you. I will take care of you. I'm going to protect you and provide for you, but you are not going to do this. It's separating out the person from the behavior, and that needs to happen. Because, listen, we've had this discussion. I'm going to remind you, you have a quarter. One side is the face. One side is the tail. They don't look just the same, but the quarter retains its value. So sometimes your child looks really great. Sometimes they don't look as good, but their value has never changed. And you need to get that message through to them extremely clearly. Oftentimes, an insecure person is the person who is more likely to act out or act up. In other words, to do things that are terrible. That person, most of all, needs reassurance about your love, needs your support, needs to understand that no matter what you do, I'm going to love you. I'm going to love you enough not to put up with the junk you're doing. I'm going to intervene, whether that means I'm going to stand in your face, I'm going to discipline you, I'm going to limit certain kinds of behaviors. If you can't stop stealing at the mall, you're not going to be going to the mall anymore. Mom, that's where I meet my friends on Friday night. Right. And obviously, you cannot control yourself and you keep getting into trouble doing things you shouldn't do there. Yes, you can't go to the mall. That's curbing a behavior while still supporting and loving the individual, recognizing their weaknesses. Okay, let's talk about a couple other things. Lying. Everybody who's ever listened to me long knows what I think about that. So you have a kid who's a chronic liar, right? Not an embellisher because he's trying to make the story better. Not fabrication as we talked about in a Saturday session a few months ago where It's just kind of taking a thread that's sort of true and then making the story amazing. I mean, lying in your face. Did you take that? No, I did not. And they did. You found it in their room. Have you been smoking dope? No way. They're standing there and their eyes are this big and you smell it all over their clothes and they're messed up. Dude, it's one thing to get high. It's another thing to lie to me. Okay. Or they just lie because somehow certain people, that's a chronic trouble with them. How'd you do on your test today? Oh, I got an A. And they failed it. They're just not going to tell you. Not necessarily because they don't want to get into trouble all the time. They just hardly can't tell the truth. I always say these people, you say, was it red? No, it was blue. Was it fast? No, it was slow. Was it a Chevy? No, it was a Ford. And you got the picture. And it was a Chevy. And it was, really and truly, some people struggle to tell the truth. You have to be able to say to them, I really love you, but I don't respect the fact that you lie all the time. In fact, I'm pretty frustrated by it. It's not cool, dude. If people are going to rely on you, you have to learn how to tell the truth. It's a very critical skill. We're going to work on this. That's how much I love you. Yeah, you have to hate the sin and love the sinner. Okay, now we're going to really put some rubber on the road. So all of a sudden, now you have an older teenager or even a young adult child, and they're really getting into trouble. Like, she's been sleeping around and she got pregnant. She doesn't even know who the dad is. Or he's been hot wiring cars and stealing them and going out racing on Saturday nights. And a couple times already he's been in and out of jail. It gets a little tougher when they get a little older, and certain behaviors are harder to love someone through. I'm going to acknowledge that to you because all of us know that human beings, sometimes we do really foolish, really self-damaging, and truthfully, other damaging things. And so you need to be able to say to them, I really love you. That has not changed one little bit. I don't respect what you're doing. I don't like what you're doing. I would like you to quit what you're doing. If you don't, you can't live at my house. Truthfully, I'm not going to support you while you're out doing things that are against the law or that are wrecking your life. You ever get to the place where you say, okay, I'm going to knock this stuff off and you need help? I hope and pray that I'm the very first person you call and I will come. But if you're going to continue by a choice of your own to walk down this road, I can't stop you now. You're old enough. It's your own decision. I'm not going to get in your way, so it's going to be a train wreck and you're going to kill me. I love you, but I can't support what you're doing. Okay? You have to deal with the sin issue. And as we've talked about so many times, it means admitting openly, acknowledging your own feelings and the place where you are. You say, I can't handle this. I don't know what to do with this. And so you're on your own, really and truly. I'd like to help you, but I can't do it. You really admit the truth to yourself and frankly to your child. But always, 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 you need to continue to work on loving that person. And I want you to understand, it is not always easy. I do not mean love like this ushy-gushy feeling that you have when they're a 4-month-old baby and they smell great when they first get out of the bath and you're snuggling them. I'm talking about the kind of love that seeks what is best for the other person, that is committed to doing what is best for their good, and that longs with all your heart to see the best in their life. You need to continue to love them and care for them, support them, encourage them, protect them to the best of your ability for as long as you possibly can. You have to love them and love them. Oh, and if you're a Christian dad and a Christian mom, you need to pray because God can do what you cannot. So you keep on loving the sinner and hate the sin. But make sure that you separate those out in your own mind, in your own thoughts, so that you're clear. I love you. I can't stand what you are doing. I hope this has really helped you a great deal today. This principle is often misunderstood and quite a challenge to teach to someone. I would welcome your questions and your comments. I would ask you this challenge question today. Am I any good at loving the sinner and hating the sin? Because some people are really good at loving the sinner, and because of that, they excuse the sin, they tolerate the sin. That's one extreme. Some people hate the sin so bad, they learn to hate the sinner, or they're disgusted with the sinner. So, how are you at loving the sinner and hating the sin? Please join me again on Paint a Beautiful Picture. Thank you for being with me today. You may find additional information on our paintabeautifulpicture.com website. Additionally, you may watch me on Rumble, and you may also listen to a podcast on Buzzsprout or Spreaker, all under the name Paint a Beautiful Picture. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. You may subscribe, and if you are interested in receiving notifications, please hit the notifications button.